The emergency lights bathed the Galactic Council chamber in deep red. Ambassador Vethran stood at the central podium, his forearms trembling as he read the data on his screen for the third time. In his 200 years of service, he had never called an emergency session. Today, he had no choice. The chamber filled quickly. 12 elder species took their seats in the towering crystal thrones that circled the room. The Kelvari, with their silver skin and cold eyes. The Morthax, massive creatures of stone and shadow. The Vindori, beautiful and terrible, their wings folded behind them like cloaks of living light. These were the rulers of known space. These were the species that had guided the galaxy for millions of years. And in the corner, on a simple wooden chair, sat Commander Elena Vasquez. She was the human observer. Humanity had only discovered faster-than-light travel 3 centuries ago. They were children in the eyes of the Council. They were allowed to watch, but never to speak unless spoken to. Elena had grown used to being ignored. "Thank you all for coming," Vethran said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "I wish I had better news. I wish I could tell you this was a drill. It is not." He pressed a button on his podium. A massive hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a section of space near the edge of the galaxy. There was a tear in the fabric of reality itself. A wound in space that glowed with purple and black light. The Void Rift. It had been dormant for 10 million years. It was not dormant anymore. 6 hours ago, our deep space sensors detected movement from the rift. Vethran continued. Ships began emerging. At first we thought it was dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. He updated the hologram. Elena felt her blood turn cold. The ships filled the screen. They stretched across millions of kilometers of space. They were massive beyond comprehension. Their designs were unlike anything Elena had ever seen. They looked grown rather than built. Organic curves mixed with hard metal. Lights pulsed along their hulls like heartbeats. "Current count," Vethran said quietly, "is 427,000 vessels. The largest is over 300 kilometers long." Silence fell over the chamber. The Kelvari Archon, a female named Sitha, rose from her throne. Her voice was sharp like breaking glass. "Who are they? Where did they come from? What do they want?" "We do not know," Vethran admitted. "Their ship designs match nothing in our databases. Their energy signatures are beyond anything we possess. Our most powerful warship would be a toy compared to their smallest vessel." "This is impossible," rumbled Gorth, the Morthax representative. His body was made of living rock, and when he spoke, pebbles fell from his mouth. No species could hide a fleet of this size. No species could build such things without us knowing. And yet, Vethran said, "Here they are." Elena watched the hologram. Something about those ships bothered her. Their shape was alien, yes. Their technology was beyond understanding, yes. But there was something familiar about them, something she could not name. A technician rushed into the chamber. He was a young Scythery, barely old enough to serve. He ran to Vethran and whispered in his ear. The ambassador's blue skin turned pale gray. "It seems," Vethran said slowly, "that we have preliminary analysis of their hull composition. The materials are unusual. Most are unknown to us. But there are trace elements mixed into the metal, trace elements that our scientists have identified." "Well?" Sitha demanded. "What elements? Where are they from?" Vethran looked at his screen. Then he looked at Elena. "They are only found in one star system in the known galaxy," he said. "The Sol system. Earth." Every eye in the chamber turned to Elena. Hundreds of alien gazes fixed on her. Some were curious. Some were afraid. Some were angry. "Explain yourself." "Human," Sitha hissed. "What is this fleet? What have your people done?" Elena stood. Her legs felt weak, but she forced herself to remain calm. She was a commander in the United Earth Navy. She had faced pirates, storms, and hostile first contacts. She would not show fear to these creatures who had treated her people like insects for 3 centuries. "I have no explanation," she said clearly. "Because humanity has no such fleet. We have 42 warships. Total. We could not build one of those vessels in 100 years, let alone 400,000 of them." "You lie," said Vindori High Seraph Eleth. His voice was like music, but his eyes held no kindness. "You have hidden this armada from us. You have planned this for centuries." "That makes no sense," Elena replied. Why would we hide such power? Why would we sit in a wooden chair and let you insult us if we had the strength to demand respect? The council members looked at each other. Her logic was sound, but fear does not listen to logic. Perhaps you did not know, Gorth suggested. Perhaps your government kept secrets from you. Before Elena could respond, the chamber's communication system crackled to life. A new signal was being received. It was coming from the Armada. Put it through, Vethron ordered. Static filled the room. Then sounds emerged from the static. They were words, but in no language anyone recognized. The sounds were old, ancient. They felt like they came from the beginning of time itself. The Council's translation systems struggled. They were designed to decode any language in the galaxy. But this language was not from the galaxy. This language was older than the stars. After several minutes, partial translation appeared on the screens. We. Return. Forgotten. Abandoned. Remember. The message repeated, over and over. The same words. What does it mean? Someone asked. Elena stared at the hologram. Those ships. Those massive, beautiful, terrible ships. They contained elements from Earth. They spoke of being forgotten, of being abandoned, of returning. A terrible thought formed in her mind. Oh God, she whispered. No one heard her. The council was too busy arguing. Accusations flew. Demands were made. Some called for humanity to be arrested. Others called for war. Others called for evacuation. But Elena was not listening. She was thinking about history. About the dark years before humanity joined the galactic community. About the wars and the desperation and the secrets that governments buried and never spoke of again. Project Exodus. She had heard whispers about it when she was young. Her grandfather had been a naval officer during that time. He had spoken of ships. Hundreds of ships, sent into the unknown with millions of people aboard. Sent through a hole in space because Earth was dying and there was no other hope. Those ships had never been heard from again. The project had been erased from history. The people who knew about it had died. The records had been destroyed. But what if the ships had survived? What if the people aboard had found something on the other side? What if they had been gone for 300 years and had finally found their way back? The Armada began to move. Slowly at first, then faster. Their trajectory was calculated and displayed on the hologram. They were heading directly for the Galactic Council's capital world. Prepare defenses, Sitha commanded. All fleets are to mobilize immediately. Our combined fleets number 18,000 ships. Vethron reminded her. They have 400,000. Then we will die with honor. The static crackled again. More words emerged. This time, the translation was clearer. The forgotten do not forgive. The abandoned do not forget. We are coming home. Elena closed her eyes. She understood now. She understood everything. That Armada was human. They were the children of Earth. They were the descendants of the desperate millions who had been sent into the void and left behind, and they were very, very angry. The council continued to argue. They still did not understand. They still thought this was an alien invasion. They did not realize that their worst nightmare was not some unknown species from beyond the stars. Their worst nightmare was humanity itself, and it was coming for them. Elena's shuttle landed on Earth 12 hours after the emergency session. She had not slept. She could not sleep. The images of that Armada burned in her mind like fire. The United Colonial Command headquarters was located in Geneva. It was a massive building of steel and glass that had stood for over 200 years. Elena had visited many times before. She had always felt proud to walk through its doors. Today, she felt only dread. Commander Vasquez, the receptionist said, "The High Council is waiting for you." "I am not here for the High Council," Elena replied. "I need to speak with General Cole." The receptionist's face went pale. "General Cole does not take visitors. He has not taken visitors for 50 years. Tell him that the forgotten have returned. He will see me." The receptionist hesitated. Then she made a call. 5 minutes later, Elena was escorted to an elevator that went down, not up. Down past the basement, down past the archives, down to levels that did not officially exist. The elevator doors opened to a long white hallway. Medical equipment lined the walls. The air smelled of chemicals and old age. At the end of the hallway was a single door. General Marcus Cole was waiting for her. He was old. Older than anyone Elena had ever seen. His skin was thin like paper. His eyes were cloudy but sharp. Tubes connected his body to machines that hummed and beeped. He should have been dead decades ago. Whatever technology was keeping him alive was beyond anything publicly known. "Commander Vasquez," he said. His voice was weak but clear. "So, they finally came back. You know about them," Elena said. It was not a question. "I know everything about them. I was there when we sent them away. I was 32 years old. I was a captain then. I helped load the ships. I watched them fly into the rift. I heard the screaming when the connection was cut." He gestured to a chair. Elena sat down. "Tell me," she said. "Tell me everything." Cole closed his eyes. For a moment, Elena thought he had fallen asleep. Then he began to speak. The year was 2156. The First Stellar War had been raging for 12 years. We were losing. The Xantheran Empire had invaded our colonies. They had destroyed Mars. They were coming for Earth. We had no allies. No one would help us. The galaxy saw us as insects, not worth saving. He coughed. A nurse appeared, adjusted his tubes, and disappeared. The government created Project Exodus in secret. The idea was simple. If Earth was going to die, then humanity would survive somewhere else. We built 412 ships. Generation ships. They could sustain populations for centuries. We loaded them with 12 million people. Scientists, engineers, doctors, soldiers, families, children. We gave them everything we had. Every piece of technology, every scientific record, every book, every song, every memory of Earth. "Where did you send them?" Elena asked. "The Void Rift. It had been dormant for millions of years. Our scientists discovered it could be activated. They believed it was a doorway to another dimension, another universe, perhaps, or another part of this universe, far from the war. We did not know what was on the other side. We only knew that staying meant death." Cole's hands trembled. "I remember the launch. 412 ships, rising into the sky. 12 million people, saying goodbye to everything they knew. They were brave, so brave. They knew they might never see Earth again. They knew they might die in the void, but they went anyway. Because there was no other choice. What happened after they entered the rift? Nothing. The rift closed behind them. We tried to contact them. We tried for years. There was no response. Eventually, we declared them lost. The Xantheran Empire collapsed due to internal conflict. Earth survived. We rebuilt. We joined the galactic community. And we buried Project Exodus. We erased it from history. We told ourselves it was to protect the families who stayed behind. But the truth is, we were ashamed. We had abandoned 12 million of our own people. Elena felt sick. 12 million people. Men, women, children. Sent into the unknown and then forgotten. Their names erased. Their sacrifice hidden. But they survived, she said. It seems so. And they have had 300 years to grow. 300 years to build. 300 years to remember what we did to them. What did they find on the other side? Cole shook his head. "I do not know. But whatever it was, it changed them. That Armada is not something humans could build. Not in 300 years. Not in 3,000 years. They found something. Something powerful. Something ancient." Elena thought of the transmission. The language that predated all known civilizations. The words about being forgotten and abandoned. "They are coming for revenge," she said. "Perhaps. Or perhaps they are coming for answers. Either way, the galaxy is not ready for them. The Council thinks they can fight. They cannot. Those ships are beyond anything we have ever seen. If the Forgotten want to destroy the galaxy, they will destroy it. If they want to rule it, they will rule it. We have no power to stop them. Then what do we do?" Cole looked at her with his cloudy eyes. There was something there. Something like hope, but darker. "You go to them, Commander. You find out what they want. You remind them that they are still human, that Earth did not forget them by choice, that we mourned them, that we are sorry. They will not believe me. Perhaps not. But you must try. Because if you fail, then everything ends. The Forgotten will judge the galaxy, and I fear their judgment will be terrible." Elena stood. Her mind was racing. A suicide mission into the heart of an armada of 400,000 ships. A conversation with people who had every reason to hate everything she represented. "One more thing," Cole said. "The leader of the Exodus fleet. Her name was Captain Sarah Chen. She was my friend. She was pregnant when she left. Her child would have been born in the void. If any of the original colonists are still alive, if any of them remember Earth, then Sarah might be the key. Find her descendants. Find what remains of her. How will I know them? Sarah had a birthmark on her left hand, shaped like a star. It ran in her family for generations. If her bloodline survives, they might still carry it. Elena nodded. She walked to the door. Then she stopped. General, did we do the right thing? Sending them away? Cole was silent for a long time. We did the only thing we could. Whether it was right, that is not for us to judge. That is for them to judge. And they are coming to deliver their verdict. Elena left the building. The sky above Geneva was blue and peaceful. Birds sang in the trees. Children played in the parks. They did not know that death was coming. They did not know that the sins of their ancestors were about to return. She contacted her ship. She requested permission for a special mission. The council did not want to approve it. They thought she would be killed instantly. But she convinced them that someone had to try. Someone had to speak to the forgotten before the war began. Her ship launched 3 hours later. It was a small vessel, barely armed, barely armored. It flew toward the approaching Armada like a moth flying toward a sun. Behind her, the galaxy waited. The elder species prepared for war. They built weapons and shields and plans that would all be useless. And somewhere in the void, 400,000 ships continued their journey home. They had waited 300 years for this moment. The children of Earth were returning, and they were bringing judgment with them. Elena's ship drifted alone in the darkness between stars. Ahead of her, the Armada filled the entire view screen. Ships beyond counting, ships beyond understanding. They blocked out the stars themselves. She had been broadcasting a message for 6 hours. The same words, over and over. I am Commander Elena Vasquez of Earth. I come in peace. I wish to speak with your leaders. Please respond. No response came. The Armada continued its march toward the Council's capital. Elena was invisible to them. A single grain of sand before an ocean. Then, without warning, her ship stopped moving. The engines still ran, but the vessel hung motionless in space. Something had grabbed her. Some force she could not see or measure. A light appeared ahead. It was soft and blue, like moonlight on water. Elena watched as her ship was pulled toward it. She passed through the Armada like a leaf floating down a river. The massive vessels surrounded her on all sides. Up close, they were even more terrifying. Their hulls pulsed with bioluminescent light. Their surfaces shifted and moved like living skin. Her ship was drawn into one of the largest vessels, the flagship. It was over 300 kilometers long. Elena's entire ship could fit inside it 10,000 times. The hangar bay was empty, except for her. The walls glowed with soft light. The air was warm and smelled of flowers and rain. It smelled like Earth. Elena opened her ship's door and stepped out. Her heart was pounding, but she forced herself to walk forward. She was humanity's representative. She would not show fear. Figures emerged from the shadows. They were human, and they were not. They stood taller than Elena by a full head. Their skin was pale, almost white, like people who had never seen the sun. Their eyes glowed with soft blue light. They moved with a grace that was not quite natural. When one of them breathed, the others breathed with them. When one turned their head, the others turned slightly as well. They were connected somehow, linked together in ways Elena could not understand. Elena Vasquez, one of them said. It was a woman. Her voice was soft, but it echoed strangely, as if many voices were speaking at once. We have been watching you. You are brave to come here alone. I came to talk, Elena said. To understand. To find a way to prevent war. War? The woman smiled. It was a sad smile. We did not come for war. We came for justice. She stepped closer. Elena could see now that she was old. Very old. Her face was lined with centuries, but her eyes were young and sharp and full of pain. My name is Arya Chen. I am the Remembrancer. I speak for the forgotten. Chen. The name hit Elena like a physical blow. General Cole had spoken of Captain Sarah Chen. This woman must be her descendant. Elena looked at Arya's hands. There, on the left one, was a birthmark shaped like a star. You are Captain Chen's bloodline, Elena said. Arya's eyes widened slightly. You know of her? I know of Project Exodus. I know what Earth did. I know we sent you away and then forgot you. Forgot us. Arya's voice hardened. Is that what you call it? We call it abandonment. We call it betrayal. We call it the greatest sin in human history. She gestured, and the walls around them changed. Images appeared. Holographic recordings of the past. Elena saw the Exodus ships entering the Void Rift. She saw them emerging on the other side into a dimension of darkness and chaos. She saw them struggling to survive. Disease, starvation, madness. The recordings showed people dying, children crying, families torn apart. The first 50 years were hell, Arya said. We lost 200 ships, 4 million people. They died calling out for Earth. They died believing that rescue would come. It never came. The images continued. Elena saw the survivors finding something in the void. Ruins floating in the darkness. Ancient structures built by something that was not human. The progenitors. The species that had seeded all life in the galaxy, millions of years ago. We found their technology, Arya explained. We learned from it. We adapted it. We merged it with ourselves. It changed us, made us stronger, made us connected, made us into what we are now. Elena looked at the forgotten around her. Their glowing eyes, their synchronized movements, their voices that harmonized when they spoke. You became something new, she said. We became what we needed to become to survive. And we watched the galaxy that abandoned us. We watched the elder species treat your people like animals. We watched them humiliate you, exploit you, deny you basic dignity. 300 years, and nothing changed. They learned nothing. They felt nothing. Arya's eyes burned brighter. So we decided to teach them. She led Elena through the ship. The corridors were vast and beautiful. Gardens grew on the walls. Water flowed through channels in the floor. It was like walking through a living forest. They reached a chamber at the heart of the flagship. In the center sat an object that made Elena's mind hurt to look at. It was a sphere of light and shadow, constantly shifting, constantly changing. Energy pulsed from it in waves that Elena could feel in her bones. This is the progenitor artifact, Arya said. It can rewrite the laws of physics themselves. With it, we can create or destroy on a scale that your council cannot imagine. We can unmake stars. We can erase species from existence. We can reshape reality itself. Elena felt cold. You would use it to destroy them? To destroy everyone? We would use it to judge them. The elder species have committed crimes beyond counting. They have murdered billions. They have enslaved entire civilizations. They have treated every young species as inferior, as worthless, as tools to be used and discarded. They did it to us. They are doing it to you. Arya turned to face Elena. Her face was a mask of grief and rage. We did not come to conquer. We came to ask one question. Does anyone in this galaxy deserve to exist? Is there any goodness left? Any hope? Any reason not to burn it all down and start again? Elena understood now. The forgotten were not invaders. They were judges, executioners, angels of death, born from humanity's greatest sin. And what have you decided? She asked. We have decided nothing yet. That is why you are here. You are the test, Elena Vasquez. You represent the humanity that stayed behind, the humanity that forgot us. Convince us that your people are different. Convince us that the galaxy can change. Convince us that there is hope. And, if I cannot, Arya's face was stone. Then we activate the artifact. Every member of our collective will die in the process. The energy required will burn out our minds. But before we die, we will reshape this galaxy. We will erase the elder species. We will give the young civilizations a chance to build something better, something without hatred, something without cruelty. Elena stared at the pulsing artifact, at the woman who held the fate of trillions in her hands, at the terrible choice that lay before them all. You would sacrifice yourselves? She asked. We are already dead. We died the moment Earth forgot us. We exist only to ensure that no one else suffers as we did. That is our purpose. That is our justice. Arya reached out and touched Elena's face. Her fingers were cold. You have 3 days, Elena Vasquez. 3 days to show us that this galaxy deserves to survive. 3 days to convince us that we are wrong. She stepped back. Use them wisely. The meeting was over. Elena was escorted back to her ship. She flew back toward the council's capital with tears in her eyes. 3 days. 3 days to save everyone. and she had no idea how to do it. The Armada reached Axiom Prime. 400,000 ships surrounded the planet like a shell of steel and light. The Galactic Council's defenses were useless. Their weapons could not scratch the Forgotten's hulls. Their shields meant nothing against technology that came from the gods who created the galaxy. Elena stood before the Council one final time. She had told them everything. About Project Exodus. About the Forgotten. About the artifact that could reshape reality itself. "This is absurd," Sitha, the Kelvari Archon, declared. "You expect us to believe that humans created that Armada? That your primitive species somehow found progenitor technology and mastered it? You lie to save your people from justice." "I am telling you the truth," Elena replied. "The Forgotten are human. They are the descendants of 12 million people that Earth sent into the void 300 years ago. They are angry, and they are powerful, and they are going to judge us all." "Then let them come," Gorth rumbled. His stone body crackled with energy. "The Morthax do not fear judgment. We have nothing to hide. You have everything to hide." A new voice filled the chamber. It came from everywhere and nowhere. Arya Chen appeared in the center of the room. She was not really there. It was a projection, a hologram of such perfect quality that she seemed solid. Her glowing eyes swept across the gathered elder species. "Gorth of the Morthax, your species destroyed the Vellani civilization 8,000 years ago. You ground their bones into dust and used their planet as a mining colony. The Vellani had done nothing to you. They simply possessed resources you wanted." Gorth said nothing. His stone face cracked. Arya turned to the Vindori delegation. "High Seraph Eleth, your species genetically modified the Caraxi to serve as slaves. When they rebelled, you released a plague that killed 97% of their population. You called it pest control." Eleth's beautiful face twisted with rage. "That was 10,000 years ago. We have evolved since then. Have you? 300 years ago, you voted to deny humanity access to medical technology that could have saved millions of their lives. You called them too primitive to deserve help. Children died because you decided they were not worthy." The chamber fell silent. Arya's projection walked among the council members like death itself. "I have records. Millions of records. Every crime committed by the elder species for the last 100,000 years. Genocides, enslavements, artificial famines, biological weapons, forced extinctions. You built your civilization on the suffering of others. You looked at younger species and saw only tools to be used." She stopped in front of Sitha, the Kelvari Archon. 42 years ago, your forces destroyed a human colony ship that had accidentally entered your space. 3,000 civilians, 200 children. You did not even try to communicate. You simply fired. Sitha's silver face went pale. "That was a mistake, a tragic accident. It was murder, and you never apologized. You never even acknowledged it happened." Elena watched the council crumble. Every species had secrets. Every species had blood on their hands. The Forgotten knew all of it. They had spent 300 years watching and recording and remembering. "You cannot judge us," Ambassador Vethron said. His voice trembled. "You are not gods. You are humans. You are the youngest and weakest of all the species here." "We were the youngest and weakest," Arya agreed. "When you abandoned us, we were nothing. Children cast into the darkness, but the darkness taught us. The progenitor's legacy made us strong. Now we are something else entirely, something you cannot comprehend, something you should fear." She raised her hand. A hologram of the artifact appeared above her palm. "This is our judgment. In 48 hours, we will activate this device. Its power will reshape this galaxy. Every elder species will be erased from existence. Your cities will become dust. Your technology will fail. Your people will simply stop. It will be painless. It will be instant. And it will be permanent." Chaos erupted. Council members screamed accusations. Guards pointed weapons that would do nothing. Fear filled the chamber like poison gas. "You cannot do this," Vethron pleaded. "You cannot kill trillions for the sins of the few. We can, and we will, unless someone gives us a reason not to." Arya's eyes found Elena. "You have 2 days, Commander. 2 days to show us that the galaxy can change, that the hatred and cruelty can end, that there is something worth saving." The projection vanished. The council exploded into chaos. Sitha demanded immediate military action. Gorth called for evacuation. Elith suggested surrendering and begging for mercy. None of them had any real ideas. None of them knew what to do. Elena slipped out of the chamber. She had work to do. She contacted Earth. She spoke with the President, the High Council, every leader who would listen. She told them what was coming. She told them what they needed to do. You want us to what? The President demanded. Send help. Send aid. Send everything we have. Medical ships, food transports, supply carriers. Send them to Axiom Prime. That is insane. The elder species have treated us like dirt for 300 years. Why should we help them? Because that is how we prove we are different. Because that is how we show the forgotten that humanity has changed. That we are not the people who abandoned them. That we can be better. The President was silent for a long time. It will empty our reserves. It will leave Earth vulnerable. If you are wrong, if the forgotten destroy us anyway, our people will have nothing. If I am wrong, nothing will matter anyway. Everyone will die. But if I am right, if we can show the forgotten that compassion still exists, then we might save everyone, including ourselves. Another long silence. I will speak with the Council, the President finally said. No promises, but I will try. The hours passed. The Armada hung in orbit like a death sentence. The Council continued to argue and fight and accomplish nothing. Then Sitha made her move. Without consulting the other species, she ordered the Kelvari fleet to attack. 7,000 warships launched a surprise assault on the Armada. They carried planet-killer weapons, bombs capable of destroying entire worlds. Elena watched from the council chamber as the attack began. The Kelvari ships fired everything they had at the Forgotten's flagship. The weapons never reached their target. The Forgotten simply erased them. One moment, the missiles existed. The next moment, they did not. The artifact's power had unmade them from reality itself. The Kelvari fleet tried to retreat. They were too slow. The Forgotten did not fire weapons. They did not need to. They simply focused the artifact's energy on the attacking ships. 7,000 warships vanished. 90 million Kelvari soldiers ceased to exist. It happened in seconds. There was no explosion, no debris. The ships simply stopped being. Sitha collapsed. Her silver skin turned gray. She had just killed 90 million of her own people for nothing. Arya's voice filled the chamber once more. That was a demonstration. The next demonstration will be directed at a planet. Do not test us again. The council was broken. Fear had defeated them. Pride had killed them. They had nothing left. Only Elena still stood. Only Elena still believed that something could be done. One day remained. One day to save the galaxy. And somewhere in the darkness of space, Earth's fleet finally began to move. Not warships, not weapons. Hope, if it was not already too late. The final day arrived. Elena stood at the window of the council chamber, watching the Armada above. 400,000 ships waiting to deliver judgment, trillions of lives hanging in the balance. Behind her, the council sat in defeated silence. They had no more plans, no more weapons, no more hope. They were simply waiting to die. Then the sensors detected new contacts. Ships were emerging from fold space near Axiom Prime, hundreds of them. The council members tensed, expecting more forgotten vessels. But these ships were different. They were small. They were old. They were unmistakably human. Elena smiled. Earth had answered. The ships were not warships. They were hospital vessels covered in red crosses. Supply transports loaded with food and medicine. Colony ships carrying emergency shelters. Engineering vessels with repair equipment. Every vessel that could fly had been sent. What is this? Vethron demanded. This is humanity, Elena said. This is who we really are. She opened a channel to broadcast to everyone. The Council, the Forgotten, every species in the galaxy that could receive her signal. My name is Elena Vasquez. I speak for Earth. I speak for the humanity that stayed behind while our brothers and sisters were sent into the void. And I have something to say. She took a deep breath. We are guilty. Earth is guilty. We abandoned 12 million people 300 years ago. We erased them from history. We forgot them because remembering was too painful. That was wrong. That was cowardly. And we are sorry. We are so terribly sorry. She paused. The galaxy was listening. But the forgotten are not the only victims in this galaxy. The elder species have hurt many others. They have committed terrible crimes against countless civilizations. Those victims deserve justice too. They deserve to know that things can change. Elena turned to face the council members. You have treated younger species like dirt for millions of years. You have killed and enslaved and destroyed. But you are not monsters. I have met monsters. I have seen real evil. You are not evil. You are afraid. You are proud. You are flawed. But you can change. Everyone can change. She looked up at the Armada above. And I am talking to you now, Arya Chen. I am talking to all of the forgotten. I know what Earth did to you. I know the pain you carry. I know you have every right to hate us, but please listen to me. Please let me show you something. She gestured at the human fleet that had arrived. The hospital ships, the supply transports, the vessels filled with aid for people who had never shown humanity any kindness. We sent everything we had. We emptied our reserves. We left ourselves vulnerable. Not because we thought it would save us. Not because we believed you would spare us. We did it because it was right. We did it because helping others is who we are supposed to be. Elena's voice broke. Tears streamed down her face. Humanity has done terrible things. We have wars in our history, genocides, cruelty beyond measure. We are capable of great evil, but we are also capable of great good. We can choose who we want to be. We can choose to be better. She wiped her eyes. You have the power to destroy this galaxy. You have the right to be angry. But destroying everyone will not undo the past. It will not bring back the people you lost. It will only create more pain, more suffering, more lost children crying in the darkness. Silence fell. The galaxy held its breath. Then Arya Chen appeared before her. Not a hologram this time. Arya herself had transported down to the surface. She stood in the council chamber, tall and pale and glowing with ancient power. You offer us words, Arya said. Beautiful words. But words cannot heal 3 centuries of abandonment. Words cannot bring back the 4 million we lost in the void. No, Elena agreed. They cannot. But actions can begin to heal. Not all at once. Not completely. But slowly. Year by year. Generation by generation. We can build something better. Together. Together. Arya laughed. It was a hollow sound. We are not like you anymore. We have been changed by the void, changed by the progenitor's technology, changed by centuries of isolation. We are still human in our hearts, but we are dying. The collective that binds us is failing. The changes that made us strong are killing us slowly. We have perhaps 50 years before the last of us fades away. Elena stared at her. You are dying? We accepted death long ago. We have no children. We cannot reproduce. We are the first and last generation of the forgotten. We came here to deliver judgment before we disappeared. We came to ensure that our deaths would mean something. Then let them mean something beautiful instead of terrible. The words came from behind Elena. She turned to see Ambassador Vethran standing. His 4 arms trembled, but his voice was strong. I have committed crimes, he said. My species has committed crimes. We cannot undo what we have done. But we can change what we do now. We can change what we do tomorrow. He bowed his head. I am sorry. The Scythery Dominion is sorry. We will do better. We will be better. One by one, other council members rose. Gorth of the Morthax, Elith of the Vindori, species after species, standing and offering apologies, offering promises, offering hope. It was not enough. Elena knew it was not enough. Words could not heal centuries of pain, but Arya was watching. Her glowing eyes moved from face to face. Something was changing in her expression. Something was softening. The artifact, Arya said slowly. It does not only destroy. The progenitors designed it to create as well. It can be calibrated differently. Instead of erasing, it can restore. It can heal wounds. It can rebuild what was broken. It can undo some of the damage that the elder species have done. Hope flickered in Elena's chest. You can heal the galaxy? We can try. But the cost remains the same. The energy required will burn out every mind in our collective. We will die. All of us. Instantly. Then do not do it. Elena pleaded. Stay with us. Live out your remaining years in peace. Let us take care of you. Let us show you that humanity can be good. Arya smiled. It was the first real smile Elena had seen on her face. We have waited 300 years for this moment. 300 years of pain and anger and grief. We thought we wanted revenge. We thought we wanted to watch the galaxy burn. But standing here now, seeing your ships full of aid, hearing your words full of hope, I remember something I had forgotten. She reached out and took Elena's hands. I remember what it felt like to be human, to believe in tomorrow, to trust in others. We lost that in the void, but you have given it back to us. You have reminded us who we are. She turned to face the council. We will not destroy you. We will save you instead. We will use the artifact to heal the wounds of the past. It will not fix everything. It will not bring back the dead, but it will give you a chance to build the galaxy you should have built all along. The forgotten began to gather, thousands of them, appearing from thin air, transported from the Armada above. They stood together, their minds linked, their hearts beating as one. Arya walked to the center of the chamber. The artifact materialized before her, pulsing with impossible light. We are the forgotten. We were abandoned. We were erased. But today we choose to be remembered for something greater than vengeance. Today we choose to be remembered for love. She looked at Elena one last time. Tell them our story. Tell them what we were. Tell them what we became. Tell them that even in the darkest void, humanity found its light. The artifact activated. Light exploded outward, sweeping across the planet, across the system, across the entire galaxy. Where it touched, wounds began to heal. Poisoned worlds grew green again. Extinct species stirred in genetic banks, ready to be reborn. Damage done over millions of years began to reverse, and the forgotten faded. One by one, their lights went out. They smiled as they disappeared. They were at peace. Arya was the last. She stood before Elena, translucent and glowing. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for reminding us who we are. Then she was gone. Elena fell to her knees. Tears poured down her face. Around her, the council members wept too. For the first time in history, every species in the galaxy was united, not by fear, not by power, by grief, by gratitude, by hope. The forgotten were gone, but their gift remained. A healed galaxy, a chance for redemption, a future worth building. Humanity was given a founding seat on the council, not because of power, not because of fear, but because a single human woman had reminded the universe what compassion meant. Years later, Elena stood before a memorial on Axiom Prime. It was a simple stone with names carved into it. 400,000 names. Every member of the forgotten. A child tugged at her hand. Grandmother, who were the forgotten? Elena smiled through her tears. They were us, she said. The best of us. And they made sure we would never forget what we could become. Above her, the stars shone bright. Somewhere out there, in a healed galaxy, new civilizations were rising, new hopes were being born, new stories were being written, and at the beginning of every story, there was a simple truth. Humanity was not the strongest species, not the smartest, not the oldest, but when the darkness came, humanity brought the light. That was their legacy, that was their gift, and the galaxy would remember it forever.